right, guys, welcome back. It is me, Don, and Dave, as you can see. Um, guys, as you can tell, obviously, Ben is not here. Obviously, we want to address that up front. As you guys know, I'm sure well aware of by now, Ben did pass away. He obviously can't do the show with us. So Dave, I have talked to Dave, and Dave was willing to stay on and do this show because this was one of Ben's favorite shows, and we wanted to keep this going. Dave, thank you for joining and continuing to be with us for this show, man. We really appreciate it here.
Oh, this was in the last year. This was one of my favorite things to do. Was come on every once in a while when I could with you and Ben and talk about what is one of our favorites and Ben's favorite show, Lost.
For sure.
Um, so I would have been doing this with or without out the tragedy, but with everything that's going on, it was only right that we continue this show for Ben, the Benjin initiative. Uh, I'm sure we'll have lots of. By the time we get to see the Henry Gale of it all, I'm sure we'll have a lot of Ben jokes by that point.
No, sure.
Uh,
Absolutely.
but I am happy to be doing this show to talk about Ben's favorite show and to just be talking about Outlaws tonight. A great episode.
Yes, yes. Episode 16, season one, Outlaws. Another Sawyer centric episode. I mean, we can hop right into it. Sawyer's messed up, man. Sawyer's messed up.
So this episode starts with the a child hearing the murder suicide of his parents.
Right.
Now you've seen the whole show. I've seen the whole show, and this is a
Mhm.
spoiler filled show. Is this the darkest opening to Lost ever? Because I can't think of another episode
Yeah.
that hits me this hard.
Not opening up. Yeah, no, definitely not opening up. I mean, technically, I guess it's the beginning of the. I mean, I don't want to say too many spoilers, but this after Charlie dies, the next episode, because we open on that scene again, which is a
Mm.
little chilly, but for an actual first opening, yes, for our first time seeing it, yeah, it's definitely the darkest.
And I would also say like this episode also directed by Jack Bender, who is a prolific Lost director.
Hmm.
Like he directs some of the best episodes. Like he did Walkabout this season. He's gonna do Exodus. He did
Okay.
he did The Moth, which is fine. He will become like Damon and Carlton's go-to finale guy because I think he's gonna do like Through the Looking Glass and things like that also going forward.
Okay.
Um, and then he's done a bunch of Game of Thrones and Sopranos. What a great episode, and also a real return to form because I feel like we've had a run of from whatever the case may be special, uh, the Boone and Shannon making out episode, and
Hmm.
then the last episode we covered, Homecoming, the Charlie centered Ethan Claire comes back episode. This is a real
Right.
return to
Right.
form. It's a return to like classic season one stuff with
Hmm.
Sawyer's flashback, and also a return to that season one quality that I really love.
Yeah. And also, he's reaching out a little bit in the beginning, don't you think, with Saeed?
I I do really enjoy the when he's being like, and a boar, he just came and he took my tarp, and Saeed's like, a boar took your tarp. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Yes. And I think Sassy Saeed is one of the best
Oh,
since like the
yeah.
mid-season break at All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. Like Sassy Saeed in the back half of season one is maybe my favorite character, and Saeed regular was already one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree, man. Saeed is amazing. I love Saeed. He's the best for
I think
sure.
also the fact that you're right. This is a reaching out episode, not only for Sawyer at the beginning, but it really bookends it where he has that scene with Jack at the end, and where
Hmm.
even though he doesn't reveal all the information he knows about his father, like is emotionally able to open up and like he gives the gun back, which I think is a real character growth from the guy we saw in episode 1.
Well, and him realizing that that's who he was talking to, you could see it, man. Like you see it in his eyes. He's like, "Oh shit, that's your father." I was fucking talking to. Like, he's like, "Yeah, no, that's all good, man. No reason. I was just wondering."
Yeah, and I really love because originally in the shooting script for this episode, they shot the scene that will eventually be in Exodus, where Sawyer has the whole emotional scene about like I was drinking with this guy Christian, and he like tells Jack all about this experience.
Right. Yep.
I think it's so great that they have the wherewithal to hold that back in this episode to say Sawyer's gonna think on that. Sawyer, that's a big deal to Sawyer, but he's gonna think on it for a little while.
Yeah.
Because then when it comes back in Exodus, kills it.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And then I think there's even like in the middle of the episode with the I Never game, I think there's a lot of opening up to Kate.
Yep, no, definitely. And I like don't mention the letter or murder. That's my 2 takeaways from that game was don't mention the letter or murder.
Yeah.
Because they both are like, fuck you.
How do we want to go through this episode? Do we want to go somewhat chronologically, or?
Oh yeah. No, we can. We could definitely do it. Yeah.
So, like, what were your thoughts about? So this episode like starts obviously with the Sawyer getting his camp ransacked and stuff, and then also the Jack and Kate debate about Sawyer didn't give his gun back. Like, what are you thinking about that? Do you think that was an interesting setup for the episode?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it set up exactly where we're going in the episode. So yeah, no, it was perfect. I mean, it sets up the vendetta on this boar, which is just the MacGuffin to get them out in the woods and them opening up to each other, and giving us a peek into Sawyer. So yeah, no, I don't mind the setup. Yeah, makes sense, and it's a fun episode. It really is with the whole board thing, and it does make it a fun episode. So.
I agree. Like with the fun factor, I think that is something that we've been missing for a couple episodes. While we deal with the is Michael a good father? Charlie killed a guy, which is obviously something that gets dealt with in this episode. There's been a lot of darkness coming back, but the fun antics of Sawyer's got to chase down a pig that broke down his tent and later will take out my shirt, and he took my shirt out of my bag and he pissed on it.
Oh my, yeah, it's
a lot of fun.
It's some of the best Sawyer lines. It's some of the best Sawyer lines for sure. In this episode.
I love, maybe a mistake to say let's go chronologically, because I'm gonna jump right to the end where he's holding the piglet as lunch, talking about favorite Sawyer line. Here, piggy, here, piggy.
Oh man. I was laughing. I thought that was funny. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, for sure.
From like Kate's perspective, you're supposed to think like, "Oh man, this is an intense scene. This is a really intense scene." But for me, I'm just seeing Josh Holloway holding this pig, being like, "Here, piggy,
yeah,
here, piggy." I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's a funny scene.
It's funny. It is. I think it is too. That's why I was like, "Why is she so mad in this scene?" Because he's obviously not hurting it. He's not hurting the pig, so
that's kind of a through line for Sawyer also that we saw from his first episode, where Sawyer doesn't fuck with kids. If there's a child involved, Sawyer's not doing anything. That comes back from his own trauma that we get to see experience in this episode, where I don't think he would have done anything to that piglet.
No. Yeah, no. Well, we see it with when he, and like you said in his first episode with them having a kid. As soon as he sees that, he like, nope, I'm out.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely, I agree with that for sure. Then we move to Charlie being like a real dick to Claire for a few minutes.
Yeah, the unfortunate. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
It's interesting what Charlie is doing in this episode because it is kind of shades of season 2 Charlie, where I have in my notes the character assassination of Charlie Pace. But he is just kind of a dick to Claire, and he has his reasons behind it. But at the same time, it's like, Charlie, talk to Claire. That's the person.
Right.
You killed Ethan for her ostensibly, and she's
the
cool
one you should be
it.
talking to. Yeah.
She seems cool with it. Have a conversation with this woman.
Yep. I completely agree. Yeah.
But it's that classic like 2005 thing where it's like, oh no, I can't talk about it. I gotta deal with my own problems right now. I'm just like, just have a conversation. It's similar to what I say in every superhero movie, which is go to therapy one time and we're gonna solve all our problems.
Right. Right. No, it's so funny, man. I agree. It's so funny.
But a fun fact about Claire though in this episode. This episode marks the upgrade of Claire's character, where she goes from guest star to series regular.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was only a guest star up in Emily DeRabin was only a guest star up until this point, which is weird that she had her own flashback episode as a guest star. But
yeah.
That is part of why she disappears for 3 episodes in the middle of the season, because as a guest star, you can only be on so many episodes.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, so she gets bumped up to series regular, and then in a couple episodes when she has a baby, they will not know what to do with her character.
Of course.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
I'm seeing a theme here.
The fumbling of Claire's character, I think, is one of the biggest missteps in all of Lost.
That's fair. She's a good character though too. I agree.
I think in season 1, yes, and then after that, they just don't know what to do with it.
Well, right. No, you're right, because I don't remember her butt from mostly season 1. So yeah, I would say that's fair. Yeah.
And then you definitely don't remember her in the one season where she just takes the whole season off. She's just not in season 5 at all.
Oh wow.
She just fucks off at the end of in the finale of season 4, and then shows back up as a crazy lady in season 6.
That is true. She is crazy.
Hey, do you know what that means? Sure. She should inherit the Iron Throne because she has the best story.
That makes sense. So here's a question I have. Okay, so with Sawyer being chased by this boar and tormented by this boar, and the fact that this boar did pull his shirt out of his bag specifically and piss on it, are we to assume that the boar is a smoke monster? Is the smoke monster in this episode?
I have in my notes, does pig equal smoke monster? And
I think so.
I can't tell
where
you. Where
there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's fire, there's bacon. So I think it makes sense.
Literally hours of my day today when I was supposed to be doing filing for the end of year stuff for my actual job.
Okay.
I spent probably like no less than 2.5 hours Googling and listening to podcasts about this episode to try and find a definitive answer to whether or not the pig was a smoke monster, because everything that happens from the boar, also you hear when Sawyer's gonna shoot the pig, he hears it'll come back around, which is the last thing Frank Duckett says before he dies.
Right.
And we know the smoke monster can like suck people's memories. So at some point he must have sucked Sawyer's memories. And then also, if we're looking at the whole show as a whole, Sawyer is someone who existed in the 80s, or in the 70s, sorry. And the smoke monster would know that.
Right.
So he is a person of interest for the smoke monster. I would like to think
That's fair.
that, yes, Pig is smoke monster trying to F with Sawyer because he's not allowed to kill the candidates, but he can mess with them. But
Okay,
then
I like it.
the thing we've
But
both
now
said,
I have a wrench for that whole. Okay.
the pig pees. I don't think the smoke monster needs to pee.
Fair. But I do have another wrench for this whole for this whole theory too, which
Okay.
I actually kind of just thought of. That would mean the smoke monster was also the baby pig. Because is the smoke monster just raising a baby pig? Is the smoke monster like filling in?
Well, no, because the smoke monster could be the mama pig, and the mama pig died, and then its body is
Right.
on the island, so the smoke monster can. Because the rules of the smoke monster are, I can take on the form of this person if their body is on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, because we know the horse in season 2 is the smoke monster.
Right. Okay.
That one actually breaks the rules, but we do know that one is. So he can be animals.
Yes.
So maybe Mama Pig died, and like this is just one of the things Smokey does. He's like, I'm gonna go raise my piglet family.
See,
You know?
that's what I'm saying. He could be
If
a
you're
family
an
man on the side.
If you're an immortal being, you gotta keep yourself entertained. And maybe just raising a pig family
sense.
is something that he wants to do.
It makes sense. I like it.
So I do think that because of the pig's ferocity, it is the smoke monster. The only problem is the urine.
That is true. That is
Because
that is a good one.
I know the smoke monster, the Man in Black can't eat until he permanently inhabits John Locke. So that would have, unless he is just cursed to, he doesn't have a physical form, but he always has to pee. Like maybe when Jacob killed him, he had to pee, so like he's just stuck like that. He's just stuck in a state of needing to pee.
Oh man, that would be the worst.
That explains why he's so mad. Honestly,
Yeah,
He had to
exactly. Well,
pee the whole
exactly.
time.
Exactly.
That's not something I
like
ever
that.
thought about before.
No.
But
No, only this show makes you think that everything is something. That's the thing about this show. So you have to analyze it just to make sure.
So going away from the pig for a second,
Okay.
but Scotty's still
Yes.
sticking in the piss scene.
Okay.
This is the first major interaction between two major characters in Sawyer and Locke. Characters who have both been screwed over by the same man, and characters who are deeply entrenched in each other's stories going forward. What did you think of their first interaction? And also, what did you think about John's anecdote about his dead sister coming back as a dog? Even though that'd be silly, wouldn't it?
Yes. I was going to bring this scene up. I literally just wrote Locke. No, that scene I really loved. So that smile at the end of that little story and everything is one of the best smiles in this show. It's perfect. But yeah, absolutely. And you see, and that's what I think makes Sawyer not shoot the pig at the end. Is he thinks about that and the fact that he killed the wrong person.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
Yes, but yeah. So I think all of that comes into play. But yeah, I really do like that scene a lot. And Kate's reaction to his smile is great too.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one.
I love, and we talked about this in the last, maybe not the last episode I was on, but a couple episodes ago, where John Locke's always full of shit, and I love the little smirk he gives when Kate's like, "So the dog was your sister?" And he's like, "Oh, that would be ridiculous."
Yes.
Oh, no. Obviously not, but the whole story, and we'll see his sister and his foster mother in a future flashback, so it's kind of interesting. looking forward
Yeah.
at that.
Well, obviously the story didn't happen. I mean that's it's he's manipulating.
Oh,
John Locke is a master manipulator. He
I
just
actually
is.
think the story did happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
John, I think, is a master manipulator, but he's not a liar. Um, a, if you look at
Okay.
all of John Locke's stories, they're all factually inaccurate, but none of them are lies.
Sure. Okay.
And he doesn't come out and say, "Yeah, I was a cop or I was a wilderness explorer." He's like, "I worked at a box company," and it's just like nobody believes him. He's like, "This guy, the box guy."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that he was thoroughly telling the truth. Like this actually did happen, and there are tons of stories about like dogs comforting people in need. And
Oh, sure.
when John, at the age John would have been at this time, where he was probably like 15, that would have been like 1962 or something like that.
Okay.
Or no, he was born in the 50s, so probably like early 70s, late 60s. I don't know exactly his birth year.
Sure.
And like people just left their doors open back then, so dogs could walk in. So I think this story actually did happen.
That's fair.
I don't think maybe it didn't happen as exaggerated as Locke put it out to be.
Okay, yeah, and
But
yeah,
I think
that's what
happen.
Okay, that's what I mean. I don't think it was exaggerated. I guess is what I meant to. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. No, but look. He also he's like Morgan Freeman, man. You can just listen to him talk.
Oh, Terry O'Quinn does have one of those voices.
Yes.
Where just everything he does.
But the way he delivers it as Locke, I think, is special because, it's just the way he delivers it as that character, man. Because I've seen him in other things and he's really good, but he nails it as Locke. Like the way he delivers lines and things, it's just so spot on for the weirdness of his character.
He's so good in every version of Locke that he plays, whether that is Locke with a purpose as we see him now, Locke just sad and despondent as we see him through after Boone's death and then most of season 2, or even when he's playing Locke but he's not Locke. I think Terry O'Quinn's just one of those guys who is so goddamn good.
Yes.
Like if we were giving like MVPs for it is a shame that it takes 3 seasons before this guy gets an Emmy.
Oh wow, really? But he did get one.
Yeah, him, Michael Emerson, and Naveen Andrews, who plays Saeed. Those are the 3 actors who end up getting acting Oscars or Emmys. They don't get Oscars, but
right. No, right. No, they deserved it for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Locke, Ben, and Saeed. Those are the actors.
Yeah. Oh, definitely Ben. Yeah. I think Jack you could make an argument for though in some of the seasons, man. He's really good.
I think people just don't like. A couple years ago, I made my wife watch all of Lost with me, and she was just her big takeaway was, "I hate Jack. He's my least favorite character," and I think that's a lot of people's takeaway.
It's fair.
So I think that's why Matthew Fox, and we'll get into this during Do No Harm, I think is the Grey's Anatomy episode of Lost, where there's a baby delivery and Boone's surgery, where Damon Lindelof has a lot to say about Matthew Fox in that episode, so I'll bring it up then. But he is fantastic.
Okay. Awesome. No, I do like him in this show. Again, the character, obviously is
hit or miss,
right. But I like him. I don't think he ever gives a bad performance, or at least overly.
Oh no, for sure. I don't think he does.
Right.
No, I think he's fantastic. Do we want to go to a great character moment in this episode, which is the I Never game between Kate and Sawyer?
This is one of the good scenes for sure. Yeah, let's talk about it. Absolutely.
First of all,
yes,
I love when Sawyer's pitching the game. He's like, And for instance, you would say, I've never been to college. Because if you'd been to college, you would know about I never. And then, like, 2 questions later, Kate's like, I never insinuated I went to college. It's like,
Yes.
just there. I know there's a lot of Jate fans and there's a lot of Skate fans. I really love. My favorite version of Sawyer and Kate is when they're just like best buds fucking with each other, which is exactly what this scene is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love this scene. Yeah, just like you said, the way they just go back and forth at first, and it starts to get a little more serious, and then by the end, they're just both like, "Man, fuck you!" like, man, why'd you got to bring that up? Like, that's
Yeah,
not what we were doing here. We weren't going there.
yeah. I wrote down Sawyer's first question and Sawyer's last question.
Yep.
Sawyer's first question thing is, I've never been to Disneyland.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, Freckles, that's just sad.
Yes.
And then his last
and
question,
he introduces the no, go ahead. I was just saying, and he introduces the nickname Sassafras in this scene, which I loved.
I love the way Josh Holloway says sassafras.
It's a funny one.
So good.
Yeah.
I also love that in real life, and I've never got to talk about this on the show.
Okay.
Josh Holloway has a Southern accent, but it's a different Southern accent than he has on the show.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has like more of a Forrest Gump accent in real life.
Okay. So Mississippi, Alabama-ish?
Yeah, more like that. Where I think he's supposed to be from Alabama. I think Sawyer's from Alabama.
I thought it was New Orleans. Or
Is it New Orleans?
I thought it was Louisiana or something like that.
He may, I'm Canadian, man. I don't know what states are.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. Though. Yeah,
we'll
I don't
get
know.
into that.
Oh, no, he says in this episode, he says I'm from Tennessee.
Oh, that's right. Where's that?
So that's, yeah, it's southeast, but it's south. It's definitely considered the south. Yeah.
Yeah. But like
So.
he has like much more of a Forrest Gumpy accent, like a Georgia Panhandle thing going. And I only know that because like I watch everyone essentially the raft crew of Michael, Jin, and Sawyer. They're like still really good friends in real life.
Yeah.
So they do like holiday things every year that I watch.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's where I learned. I was like, oh, that's the wrong Southern accent. That's not the Sawyer voice. But Sawyer's first question is never been to Disneyland.
Yes.
And then his last question, just 4 questions later, is never killed a man. And it's like, what an escalation.
Yes. Right. But that's what I mean. It happens so fast, but at the same time, it starts off so playful and then ends so crazy. And you're just like, wait a minute, where did this go? How did this get here? So
and
fast.
Then, some of the other notable questions, Sawyer wore pink in the 80s, which I'm like, I wore pink a week ago. That's nothing.
No.
Scoff at. Sawyer.
I think it's more of the time of the show, right? Is that wouldn't that be
there's
more
a
of
reason
a joke
there's
for
no
the time?
gay characters on the show. Well, Tom Friendly. I'm sorry. There's
no, right. Yeah. So,
but other ones were sorry, Kate never saying that, essentially calling out Sawyer and saying I never based my whole personality on a letter I wrote when I was 9.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not cool.
Yeah, and then asking Carte Blanche because I wanted to be next to the only other person that's interesting on the island, or as lonely as me on the island, whatever it was. That was that was Sawyer asking her.
Mm-hmm. I think that her also asking Carte Blanche, because that's a great scene also where she rolls up on Sawyer and is like, so you don't know how to track. You've been following a rock slide. Those footprints are either Boone or Charlie. I don't know. Yourself for a while.
Yeah, that's the best one.
It's like, Sawyer, first of all, rocks don't have feet. Why were you following a rock slide? Also, regular feet? Did you think the boar put on a pair of boots? And
yeah.
Was
Oh, man. Yeah, that is a funny scene. That is definitely a funny scene. Again, I think overall this episode was just fun, because that's what I just had a lot of fun watching this episode for sure.
Another one of the questions before we move on from I Never is never been married, and Kate drinks.
Yes, but
Uh,
briefly.
yeah. What did you what did when the first time you saw that, did you think anything about that? Did you think that related back to like the the whole plane of it all, where it's like belonged to the man
I
I
mean,
killed?
that's what I would have assumed that when I first saw it. Yeah, was that it was had to do with the plane. Um, yeah, I don't remember exactly what I thought at first, but um, it definitely that would have definitely been something that made me curious. Like, what is this? Where did this come from? Who were you married to?
I assumed she was lying the first time I saw it.
Okay,
And it was just one of
okay,
those things to be like, fuck off, Sawyer. I'm gonna do this. So like, maybe you're less interested in me because like we have a playful relationship, but I don't want to go any further. Um, I definitely thought she was lying, especially because after things like whatever the case may be,
yeah,
that whole little plane of it all, I was like, we just can't trust anything Kate says.
yeah, okay, okay,
And then when she drinks for "I've killed a man," I'm like, well, you told us that in that with that stupid little plane.
yeah. Well, yes, but I don't know. She got him killed. I don't
Yeah,
know how
no,
much she killed him. That's the only
no,
part about that where I think it's a little
no.
semantics.
He definitely got himself killed because she will
Yes.
in that episode, and we'll see that next season. No, later this season.
I think yeah, right.
Yeah,
That is
that's
this season.
Born to Run. I think
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
the first Arst episode. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
uh, no, she gives him every opportunity. It's like, hey, get
Oh
out of the
yeah.
car.
Get out
And
of the
he's
car.
like, no,
Yeah.
I'm
A
here.
few times.
No, I think Wayne might be the. I think Wayne and the Man in Black might be Kate's only kills.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Oh no, she
Absolutely.
killed those guys in the bank robbery for no reason.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was a few episodes ago. I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. Damn.
Damn. Kate, we had a
Yeah.
character arc
Damn.
for you.
Yeah. That blew a hole in all that right there.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Um,
that.
do we want to go to Charlie burying Ethan or Sawyer's flashbacks?
Uh, well, yeah, let's do Charlie first.
I think this is some of the best Charlie stuff. And we are running low on good Charlie stuff because
True.
there's gonna be season 2 is gonna be rough on Charlie, and then there'll even be a line
Wonderful.
in early season 3 where Charlie's like, "I used to be on the bloody A team, and now I'm just relegated to doing whatever this is."
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but I think this is some great, with the exception of the scene where he's a dick to Claire, as we talked about earlier. I think the Charlie Hurley scenes and then the Charlie Saeed scenes especially are
Yeah.
really good.
And this is a really good scene with Charlie and Saeed too. This is one of the good ones for sure. Again, it shows how good Saeed is, um, and that Charlie isn't a he's not a bad person. He thought he's angry. He's just angry at
Yeah.
this moment. And we have to remember Charlie is not that far away from a recovering from heroin. So it's not like you just can get rid of that overnight. I mean, you still have that want and need for it. So there's probably some anger in him from that too. That's spilling out, you know.
Yeah, I think he's probably at this point like 2 weeks clean.
Right. So he's dealing with still wanting to use and not being able to use and
Mm-hmm.
probably still fighting that battle internally also on top of all this. So yeah, Charlie's going through a lot right now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I think, and you see that where like he lashes out at Saeed the first time that Saeed tries to help, where
Yep.
Saeed's like, there. He tells this amazing story about a
Yes.
police officer who lived next to him and then whose family was killed by a car bomb.
Right. Yep.
And it's so incredible. And then Charlie snaps and is like, "It sounds like you're the one who needs therapy." And it's like, all right, dog. And
Yeah.
to Saeed's credit, he's like, "All right, I get it. You're going through some stuff. I'll let you have this one."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
really great.
No, his reaction is perfect because yeah, what's he gonna do? He's not gonna just start attacking Charlie. I mean, he knows what. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Charlie, Charlie and Saeed becomes one of my favorite underrated pairs, where
Sure.
even during the season 2 assassination of Charlie Pace's character, um, Saeed will be one of the people who stands by Charlie, and like
Yes.
he'll invite Charlie to go on the mission to find Henry Yale's balloon and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think that comes down to the fact that Saeed's a soldier, and Saeed is, and I've talked about this on the show before. He's kind of like the shadow leader of 815,
Oh,
where
I would say that. Yeah, I would say that. He's
he
definitely
is.
one of the top people.
I think like Jack is like the guy being like, all right, here are the decisions. But every time there's like things that need to happen, delegations that need to go on, someone that needs to be talked to, Saeed's the guy who's in there doing that.
Yeah,
And I
no,
love
I
that.
think I think it's Jack Sawyer and Saeed are what would be the perfect three to run it because you have Saeed, who is sort of the quote unquote level headed version of both of them, where they're sort of the anger extremes of like light and dark, if you want to put it that way. At
Okay.
least Jack tries to be.
That's what
And
the
then
show's about. One is light,
yeah,
one is dark.
and then Saeed is sort of the calm head, but still has that like no, if we need to mess some stuff up, I have no problem doing that. But let's think about it first. like,
I
I can put bamboo sticks under your fingernails if I need to, but I don't have to. So let's talk. like that's Saeed to me.
yeah. There's a great line coming up. I don't remember if it's this season or next season where they'll talk about torturing, and Saeed will be like, "I don't do that anymore," and so we'll be like, "Well, isn't that convenient?"
Convenient as hell, right? Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I also love talking about the scene with Charlie where it starts by Hurley going to Saeed and be like, "Hey, dude, you ever get that Gulf War symptoms and stuff?" And he's like, "That was the other side." It's like because it's something that you think about where yeah, Saeed is
Yeah.
to a lot of these people, and again, very brave of ABC to make one of their main characters not only a person of Middle Eastern descent, but someone who's legitimately on the other side of the war.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
was an amazing call. And Saeed's one of my favorite characters. And it's criminal that they don't make a Funko of him. But
Oh,
they
really?
make Jacob
I'm
and the
surprised.
goddamn Man in Black, but no Sawyer and no Saeed and no Desmond. They make two
Oh, wow.
Jacks.
Two Jacks. No,
There's two Jacks
wow.
and no Saeed.
But no Desmond either. That's
I
weird.
know, right?
Desmond
No
and Saeed.
Desmond. They
Yeah,
make the
that's
Man
weird.
in Black and Jacob.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
that's a weird. That's
uh,
weird.
but I do love because I think this is a callback to earlier in the season where Sawyer was trying to or Saeed was trying to fix the transponder,
Uh-huh.
and Hurley comes up to him and is like, "Oh, you fought in the Iraq War. I had some friends who fought in that. What division were you in? The Republican Guard." He's like, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry."
No, but you know what? I also like that, like you said, that they were brave enough to do it, but they also talk about it a lot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it comes up a lot in just normal conversations, and it doesn't feel like they're forcing it or anything, but it does come up a lot.
Yeah,
So they, that they were willing to tackle it as much as they do too is pretty big for that time.
yeah, and also not like he wasn't a foot soldier. Like this was a
Yeah,
advanced interrogator.
yeah.
So like good on you, Damon Lindelof and J.J. Abrams for being like, this is what we're doing.
Well, when they raid the base, when he's there, the when the U.S. raids the base and the
Yeah,
commander is gone, he's next in charge, right?
I don't think he's next in charge. I think he's just the one who speaks English.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but we don't have to deal with that until I think
Oh, yeah.
season.
No, I just thought that he was like the next one since the commander was gone.
Yeah, no, I think that is legitimately just because he speaks English.
Gotcha.
Because people seem confused, but that's a season 2 thing where we deal with Mr. Krabs and Kate's dad.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
let's see.
I'm trying to think anything else that happened that we didn't talk about yet.
Oh well, we got the entire flashback.
Oh well, yeah. Well, absolutely, yeah. Um,
But in terms of on island stuff, I also really appreciate that Charlie takes it upon himself to bury Ethan, the same way Jack took it upon himself to bury the marshal. He's like, I did this. I need to a- atone for this in a way, and I need to put this
yeah.
behind me.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know Charlie's a good guy.
Yeah.
It just sucks because of where he's at right now, unfortunately. So yeah, he's just trying to work through some stuff, man. He's trying to get through it.
It really is, and it's tough seeing Charlie like this because he's doing. This is almost the exact opposite of season 2, where right now Charlie's being kind of aloof and weird in this way, but for a good reason, as opposed to in season 2 where you just are like, Charlie, why are you acting this way?
Right. Well, yeah. Right. Yeah. I think too, like he's on an island. He's stuck on an island too. He's still dealing with that too. Like there's a lot, like all the stuff he's going through, like would be crazy in a normal person's life, and
Yeah,
he's stuck on an island.
and he killed a man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's just yeah, it's so because you can see why he is that way.
Yeah,
It's just frustrating too because because you're like, dude, just why just why? Don't do that.
just why?
Yes. I feel that a lot in this show, don't you? Just why?
Yeah, like whenever I see
Just why?
Sawyer, and I'm like, why are you wearing a short sleeve shirt under a long sleeve shirt under another short sleeve shirt?
Mhm.
And I think
And
what
jeans.
and
Well, I think
jeans.
it's UV. It's got to be the UV.
Yeah, and then I think, Sawyer, why are you doing that? And then I think to myself, Dave, that's how you dressed in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, that is true. That
Yeah,
is true.
and then I think to myself, but you had an excuse. You were 11. He was an adult man.
Well, I mean, it's it's a lot because look, at least they didn't lose their fashion sense while they were on this island. I mean,
Time will say that they lost their fashion
well,
sense. Time is not kind to these people.
look, they could get rescued right now and runway in 20 minutes. Just put them on a runway.
Oh boy.
That's funny.
So, do you have anything else about on island, or do you want to do flashbacks for Sawyer?
Yeah, no, let's get to the flashbacks. Yeah, for sure. I think we've covered most of. Yeah,
How cool is it seeing Robert Patrick in the flashbacks?
that is fun.
T1000 himself.
Yeah, yeah, it
Uh,
is.
some behind the scenes stuff. Robert Patrick was approached in season 6 to be, obviously in the Flash Sideways, Sawyer is a cop. Uh, Robert Patrick was approached to be the chief of police in the
Oh,
Flash Sideways, but due to scheduling conflicts and a lack, and in his words, not wanting to fly to Hawaii, he didn't do it.
that would have been awesome though.
It would have been really good. I think it would have. And Hibbs was also a character we were supposed to see again, but in the only time in Lost history where they fully scrapped a storyline, where the season 2, episode 2, episode Adrift, Michael Dawson's second flashback episode, was supposed to be Sawyer, and it was supposed to be the Tampa job that Hibbs talks to Sawyer about in this episode.
Mhm.
But they got to filming, and they got, I think, 3 days into filming, and they were like, "This is not good. Let's not
Wow.
do this." So when we eventually get to Adrift, you'll see a lot of the scenes, because the way Lost filmed, just because they needed to have like consistent facial hair for a lot of the male cast members,
Sure.
was they would do all the on island stuff and then all the flashback stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So they had filmed all the on island stuff, or in that case, all the on ocean stuff, because it's all Sawyer and Michael in the ocean, adrift
On the raft. Yeah.
on the
Okay.
raft that's falling apart.
Right.
And then uh, they were filming. When we get to that episode, you'll see a lot of the times right before we go to flashback, it's a shot of Sawyer being like, "Oh," or Sawyer will get the last word, or Michael will say something like, "You'll never love anybody," because that was supposed to be the Tampa job. But they got like a
Okay.
couple days into filming the Tampa job, and we're like, "No, this is bad."
I want to know what the Tampa job is, though. I really do want to know.
Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse have said there are two things they will never discuss: who was on the other outrigger in season 5,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and what was the Tampa job. Now
That's
people know
bullshit.
because it was in the script.
Right.
Like Josh Holloway filmed scenes for the Tampa job, but it was so bad.
How could it be that bad? I just want to know what they filmed now.
Me too, because they
that's
let
just I
fire.
just want to see that.
They let Charlie tries to drown Aaron happen, but they wouldn't let the Tampa job happen. What was so bad about the
I
Tampa
mean,
job?
they couldn't rework the script enough to make it work. I mean, really,
It was that
that's
bad.
weird. Yeah,
They had Robert Patrick there apparently, and they sent him home.
that's weird.
That's also
weird.
why most of the Adrift flashbacks happen in like boardrooms, because they were like, we don't have the time to film at different sets.
Oh my god. Damn, no, that's funny.
But we
Yeah,
will,
you'll definitely remind me of that when we get to it for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
because
will
I
get to Adrift
yeah,
when that happens.
that's funny.
More things about the most of my behind the scenes stuff happens in the flashbacks actually. So the blonde woman
Mhm.
who Sawyer brings back to the hotel room, do you recognize her?
I don't know.
So she has not one but two connections to the Lost universe, one on screen and one off.
Okay.
Her off screen connection is that is Harold Perrineau, aka Michael's real life wife.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
Michael. That is also apparently why she like really is like, no, I can stay, because she was allegedly really trying to milk the scenes, to be like, I'll be on Lost, I'll be a main character. It's like, no, you won't, baby.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
She will also appear in a couple episodes down the road. She is the lottery girl that will announce the winnings of Hurley's lottery ticket.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
And we'll see her a couple times because we'll see her in Numbers and Everybody Hates Hugo, two Hurley episodes, only ever on the TV. But yeah, that allegedly
Is she the one that calls out the numbers and okay, so she's the
yeah,
one that calls out the numbers, yeah.
yeah, when
Okay.
Hurley is watching the TV and is like, oh my
Yep.
god, those are the numbers.
Yep.
That's both the
Okay.
woman Sawyer was trying to sleep with and Harold Perrineau's real wife.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's fun. That's fun.
So we'll see her down the road.
Awesome. Okay.
Another connection is not for her, but just for this episode. Carlton Cuse, who I've talked about a lot on this show. Damon Lindelof's like the guy he learned under,
Yeah.
and then also he's gonna be a huge contributor to Lost, especially once we get into season 2. Sawyer is his favorite character to write for. So he was, despite not being a writer or a director on this episode, very involved in the creation of this episode, which, because the showrunner is more involved in this episode, I think leads to why it is one of the better episodes of season 1.
Sure. No, yeah. Okay. And he's the writer that you said they brought in, right?
Yeah, the Carlton Cuse, he was,
Right.
yeah, that was Damon Lindelof was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Dad, come in and help me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you talking about that. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Uh, yeah. So talk about just like the rest of the Sawyer flashbacks, going from I think Hibbs telling him go to Australia, all the way
Yeah.
to Christian Shepherd saying, without knowing, you know what would be super dope if you murdered that guy.
Pretty much tells him to go do it. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't, well, but does he even know what he's there? He doesn't really know that's why he's there. I mean, I guess he could. I don't know what in that conversation would have gave that away to him.
I don't think I think Christian is like there's a I don't know if you guys have this expression in the States, but half in the bag.
Okay. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
It's like you are so drunk that you are like
Oh,
you're not even here. You're half in the bag right now. Like
I
you're
gotcha.
already thrown up. You're passed out. You're gone. I think by the time he meets Sawyer, he is half in the bag.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely, yeah. He's definitely
So I
lost.
don't know that he has enough comprehension to even comprehend. Yeah, I'm telling this man to go kill someone. As much
Right.
as he is thinking, this guy's giving me free drinks. I love him.
Yeah.
Letty
But
from
I just
Fast and
think
the
he's
Furious.
coming
Just let
more
me alone.
from, yeah, I think he's more coming from like you said, he's giving me free drinks. Oh man, if you're here to do something, dude, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, yeah. So, but yes, he does basically tell Sawyer to go kill that dude.
Frank Duckett.
Oh man. Um. Yeah. So what? How? So he doesn't think that he's coming back, and he's just gonna find him.
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Um. Uh. I mean, he sends the when he sends him to go kill this guy for him. Like he doesn't think that Sawyer's just going to come back
It
and find him.
it is
He's not worried about it
interesting.
at all.
It is interesting that like Sawyer, when he first sees Hibbs, he throws him
Yeah.
against the wall and is like, "I told you if I ever see you again, I'd kill you."
Yeah.
And then Hibbs's immediate response is, "We both know you're not the killing type."
Yes.
And then
Yes.
his plan is, I'm gonna send Sawyer to kill this guy. And then, like, if Sawyer had read the whole letter before shooting Frank Duckett, there's a moment where Frank's like, "I'm sorry, what are you talking about?" And then they have a
Yeah.
conversation. They're like, "Man, doesn't Hibbs suck?" I think it's a poorly thought out plan on Hibbs's part.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he's hoping that Sawyer comes in there guns blasting on an emotional level of saying, "This guy killed your dad and your
Yep.
mom. Like this is the guy."
I mean, he's
But
got to be banking on that he thinks Sawyer, and he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna get emotional. He's gonna get caught. But we know Sawyer's not that stupid.
also he's a 14-hour flight to Australia to
Yeah.
chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Right. That is
Um
true.
and then also he's got to wait in line at the shrimp truck it.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, how I remember Frank Duckett's name. I'm like, Duckett, he runs a shrimp truck it.
Shrimp chucket.
Um,
I just love that he's like, he comes up with a pen and pad, and he's like, we got two choices, mild and hot. Like, what do you have the pen and pad for then? What the hell's the pen and pad for?
the typical American education.
It's just so
You know?
funny. I just thought about that because you see him like kind of sit it down on the counter, and he's like, we got two choices. Like, what?
I like that he's just gonna write on the pad like a big number 1 or a big number 2.
Yes, right. I like to think that he has like every single piece of paper filled out with like, like, do you like me or not? Yes or no. But it's just like hot or mild, and so you can just check it.
It's just like he has he also, the shrimp truck seems to be in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Yes.
Even though it is also next to a gas station of some kind because there are dumpsters there.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, Sawyer, first of all,
Well, right behind it is like a swamp thing. So whatever that is.
that's
So
just Australia.
right. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing around it. It looks like other than like.
But I'm like, how much business are you getting? And also, how much business are you getting that you can say half off for all Americans?
Right.
It's like, oof, you guy. Sawyer only had to wait behind one guy.
Yeah. 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 And you know what too?
Um,
Because I thought immediately, and I don't know if I thought this originally when I first saw it, but I thought immediately, even though I know what's going to happen, is when he says, "Oh, I love those Southern women." I thought
mm,
that's when Sawyer was just going to be like, "Man."
honestly, though, like I don't think the first time Sawyer went to the shrimp market, if he was going to kill Frank, because
The
like
first time, yeah, okay,
that's a hard shot to make. Like I'm not a killer. I've never killed a person. That can
right.
be
No, I got you.
proven. Um, but you're gonna stand below someone in a food truck
Right.
and shoot them. It's like I don't think Sawyer was ever there to kill. And then when he
Okay.
just disappears without taking his shrimp, I'm like, that's messed up, man. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't you at least get the meal out of it? I mean, you got to at least
Yeah,
eat before you do that.
yeah, uh, yeah. Maybe I guess the big takeaway that I had not thought about until now, Hibbs is just bad at his job.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
cause
obviously, right.
Sawyer, and even the guy who sells Sawyer the gun, who just like a continuity thing,
Okay.
Sawyer buys the gun the same day that Boone is buying off Brian, Shannon's abusive ex,
Yep. Yep.
at the same location. They're literally like 40 feet away from each other.
Oh, really? So
Just
he's at
based,
he's at the docks too.
well, according to Lost, the only place in Australia is right outside the opera house. So, because
Okay.
you always see that in the background, and it's like, and then there's the docks,
Yeah.
and that's where Brian is power washing the benches, and that's
Yeah.
where Sawyer buys his gun.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
happens, according to Lostopedia, it happens on the same day,
Okay.
which weirdly is also not the same day that. So I guess a couple days pass where Sawyer is going to kill Frank Duckett, but that's not the thing that's going to get him kicked out of Australia. He's going to get in a
Right.
fight with the Honorable Warren Truss.
Yes.
Uh, he's going to headbutt him in a bar. Sawyer had a busy 4 days in
Yeah,
Australia.
dude. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't have pretty much like a 1 day return flight set up if that was your plan.
Well, you can't kill someone then come back the next day. That's how you get caught. Not that I would know.
I would think you would want to get out of the country as quick as possible.
No, because like they can track. It's like did someone come into the country and then like 12 hours later, in the time frame that this murder happened, immediately flee the country?
Right. Well, my only thinking is there's no real connection to him and Sawyer.
I don't know. There's a gas station right where Frank Duckett is. Like, I don't know. I
Right,
think
right, right. But
Sawyer's lucky.
what I'm saying is they have no reason. I don't think they would have any reason to connect Sawyer and him because I mean maybe,
Maybe
but again, yeah, I just think I would, if I did something like that, I would definitely want to be out of Dodge as quick as possible, like
that's fair.
hiding in one of those like rowboats with like the cover on it, just like laying in one of them somewhere.
Oh my god.
Just
Oh
no,
my
just
god.
nobody look at me, nobody see
Uh,
me.
yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've never
I don't
done it
know.
either, so I don't know.
I know we have to wrap up soon.
Yeah, yeah.
But like to talk about
Oh, good.
the other part of the flashbacks is obviously the Christian shepherd of it all.
Yes,
Sawyer
of course.
Sawyer is probably the last person to talk to Jack's father. What did you think about seeing
Yeah.
Christian, and then what did you just think about like that whole conversation?
Yeah, I mean the Boston Red Sox line is great, and we get
Oh,
the ref. Yeah, go ahead.
can I just about the Boston Red Sox?
Okay.
So this episode aired in February of 2005.
Okay.
The Boston Red Sox had won the World Series 5 months prior
Okay.
to this, which in my head, I always think the Red Sox line comes up in Jack's first episode. But at the time they wrote this line, the Red
Yeah.
Sox have already won the World Series in the real world But
Oh,
in the
okay.
world of
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Lost, they haven't won the World Series yet.
Right, because they reference that when he's talking to
In season 3, when
right
Ben
when they
shows
show the
him.
yeah when he shows him right yeah okay okay
But it's always interesting to me that, like, especially once I found out I've never been a baseball fan. Obviously, I'm Canadian. The Blue Jays
um,
are terrible.
I'm not a
Um,
big baseball fan either.
but the fact that this line was written 5 months after the Red Sox had in fact won their first World Series in a long
Yeah,
time,
that is weird.
they chose to make that, and that comes down to, I think, Damon Lindelof is a Yankees fan. So
Makes sense then.
yeah,
That
so
makes sense.
I think I don't know a lot about baseball rivalries, but I
That's a big
assume
yeah. That's a
yeah.
big rivalry. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Now
makes sense.
you're American, so I did want to ask you tonight:
Okay.
is Jack a Red Sox fan or is he a Yankees fan? Because are him and Christian saying that's
Yeah.
why the Sox will never win the series, as like
Well,
devastating?
it's sort of more of a colloquialism, I would say, for baseball in general, because it was a long time since the Red Sox have won. Like there's the Red Sox curse, which is um I think what happened is they beat the Yankees back when it was like, Babe Ruth and all of them. And
My God,
then
black
the
and white was
Yankees,
still a thing then.
right. And then the Yankees, that's when they went on their tear. And everybody said that it's the curse of the Bambino is what it's originally called, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
the Boston Red Sox curse, which is they'll never win a World Series as long as the Yankees are good. Or I don't know exactly the whole story behind it, but yeah, it's more of like a oh, this will never happen kind of thing,
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, more now it is used that way, but since then it's gone away because they did win a World Series eventually. So
And now, whenever you say it, people think you're just referencing Lost.
yes, that is true too. That is actually true too. Yes, so yeah. But back then, yeah, when this was out before that had happened, yeah, that was definitely a big thing that people did say. So yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, but no, I do want to talk about a little more about that scene. Just I love how he goes into that story about how, like, I could make that phone call, I could end all this right
Mm-hmm.
now, I could tell my son I love him, and I could end all of it, but I'm weak,
Yeah.
and I think Sawyer feels that too in that moment. He feels weak too.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. I think
Yeah,
Sawyer, despite like having a lot of strength in the episodes we will see him in, does very much feel powerless and still like that little boy trapped underneath the bed frame.
mhm,
I think the Christian Shepherd conversation really resonates with him, which is
yeah,
part of why when Christian asks him, will what you have to do here ease your pain? And Sawyer responds, yes. He's like, then what are you waiting for? He's like,
right.
yeah,
It's a great line too. It's a great line.
it's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah, I agree.
Um, and I really think the main meat though of this conversation with Sawyer really does pay off in Exodus, in the lumberjack scene
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. I know where
where
you're at.
yeah, we will obviously talk about when we get there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah. This show really does a great job with setting things up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes,
I
but
Yeah,
overall, I think they get it right. Overall, I think they get it right,
I think so too. And I think
and they give us enough information that we, at least as the audience, don't feel lost too. Like we don't feel behind as much as some other characters do.
yeah, I think there's a I would agree with that. That at least for the most part, Lost does that, where they give you enough information to feel like you can follow along. I think
Yeah,
sometimes that kind of falls apart,
yeah,
but at least for now, I would agree with you.
because you don't want your audience too far behind where you're trying to have them at, because then they're just like, well, wait a minute, what the? You don't want people constantly trying to figure things out as they're
Yeah,
watching a show too. I mean,
I
you want
think
them to be able to keep up to an extent, but still surprise them as you
yeah.
go.
A
So,
while from now, in like the season 5, 4, 5 era, I think they will start straight up lying to us.
well, that yeah, yes, yes.
But we'll get there when we get there. Right now, we're dealing with the Outlaws, an episode I really loved.
Yeah, no, again, I really enjoyed rewatching it, man. I had a good time with it. I had a lot of fun overall. I think there's a lot of good stuff in this episode too. So
Yeah.
yeah, really good episode.
The only problem with this episode is
What's that?
not enough Jin and Sun.
No Jin and Sun, right?
Yeah, they do appear, but they
Oh,
do not
okay.
have any lines this episode,
Okay, I didn't see him. Okay, okay.
which I think is a shame because next week in translation is a Quan episode.
Yep. Okay. That I'm excited for because
Me too.
I want to get back to the Suns. I like the Suns.
The Suns,
Absolutely. The Suns, man. The Suns.
the Jin erasure on that.
It's the Suns.
Uh,
They're the Suns. Why not? Why
Yeah.
can't they be the Suns? She's the real moral compass in that relationship.
the moral
You know
compass,
that.
yeah, but I think I like Jin. I don't know that I'm ready to make that. I don't know that I'm ready to make that stance. Never mind.
I will always stick by. I love, especially Jin and Sawyer in that season when they go back. So
Yeah, season 5.
I do love them. Then they are really good.
What I think I could say is season 1 to 3, Sun is better, and season 4 to 6, Jin is better.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, because once Jin really learns English and really becomes part of the group, he really goes all in, like Sun would have in the beginning if he wouldn't have held her back as much. But
For sure. I think that's one of the
he does
culture
go
thing.
all in once he is able to talk and be communicative
Yeah.
with the group. I think he does say, okay, this is who I have to help. So
For sure.
yeah, I love Jin.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
I couldn't let an episode of the Geekdom Initiative go by without talking about the Quans, because that has been my thing. Every time I come on, I spend most of my time talking about the Quans, and I had not brought it up yet.
No, that's always welcome here, sir. You can always bring the quads up here for sure.
The Suns, you mean?
Yes, the Suns. I still say the Suns for now. And for right now, it's like you said, it's fitting. First 3
Yeah.
seasons, it's fitting.
I guess.
So, all right, Dave. Tell everybody where we can find you, man.
You can find me on the Northern Entertainment Group YouTube channel every week on Have You Seen This? Tuesdays at 8 8 EST, talking about the latest and greatest in TV news, as opposed to this on the Geekdom Initiative, where I talk about the latest and greatest of 2004's TV news. Also, you can follow me at Leaves Me Alone, but that's a bad follow, so don't do that.
So yeah, you guys, you can find me on Twitter at Jedi Master Tuck. You guys can find me here on the channel. Right now, we are still figuring out some scheduling thing, guys. So once we have our schedule locked down again, I will be giving everybody a more in-depth view of that. But for right now, guys, also look for us on the Facebook group. And guys, we are also joined up with the Benverse, which is a collaboration of channels right now. So please go check some of that out, which Dave is a part of one of those channels, the Northern Entertainment Group. So, but yes, guys, there will be more information coming out soon, but we appreciate you guys so much for sticking with us. And please like and subscribe to the video, and we will see you guys next time for episode 17.
See you in
Bye,
another
guys.
life.
Yes.